today's video, we have DanielGotHits joining us. Not only was Daniel early to Bored Ape Yacht Club, but he was also very early to ENS in general, but more specifically, digits. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe per usual. If you want to join a community full of other NFT enthusiasts such as myself, make sure you join our Discord. I'll put the link down below as well. We have one of the most active Discords. It's great. A lot of good people in there, and I bet you won't regret it. And of course, make sure you follow Daniel as well. I'll put his Twitter link in the bio or whatever that thing is also. And sit back, relax, and enjoy this video because it's a good one. All right, so today on the channel, we have Daniel. Daniel, it's good to have you, man. Everybody knows you as like the ENS guy. That's like kind of what you've just become like over time. And I know that you were really early to Bored Apes and all that shit. So why don't you just like start by giving an intro about like you, like how you got into the space, your deal, and then we'll just like, you know, start going off and we can talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, sounds good, bro. First off, your channel's fucking lit. You're one of my favorite people that talks about NFTs or makes like actual content about it. So it's cool to be on. So yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. My background is I'm like from the soccer world, like freestyle soccer. So if anyone's ever seen that, it's like, if you ever seen any crazy dude with like blue hair fucking running around New York, like going viral on the Explore page, doing like really, really dumb shit with a soccer ball, it was probably me. So yeah, I've always just been into kind of crypto and stuff like that since, you know, the early days. You know, I was way too young and broke to actually, you know, put any real money into it. But I like bought, you know, fucking half a Bitcoin for like $300 or something like that. And then sold it the next year for like 200. And, but that was like 2014 or something, 2013. So I've always just been like following crypto since then, and then never really doing anything or investing much because I just didn't have any money to really put in, but just kind of like keeping an eye. And then, you know, the whole NFT thing, since Gary Vee started talking about it and all these other people and CryptoPunks, it was kind of on my radar. And so finally last year, I got an injury with my soccer thing. And I was like, okay, this could be an interesting time to like learn about all this NFT shit. And so I knew I was going to be just at home with like, you know, crutches and stuff for like 2 months recovering from this injury. So I just started like diving in and learning about NFTs. And luckily at that time, I had like saved up a little bit from my soccer shit on social media. So actually, it was like the first time I had any sort of money I could actually do something with. So I was like, oh shit. I started buying a couple things. I minted a Meebit. I bought a Bored Ape or two, like, or three. I think at one point I had 3 or 4 apes, but I sold like most of them like way like 4 ETH or some shit. So yeah, I just started getting in like that. And then just literally just like lucky timing. But I could just tell there was something there. And I was like, nah, this shit is like super like futuristic, like innovative. All the people are really fun. It was my first time like hanging out on Discord and things like that. I know some gamers already were doing that, but yeah, the whole space just kind of drew me in. And since then I've just been super, you know, excited about it and focused on Web3 shit all the time.
So I feel you on like all that stuff. So I guess to begin, so you found Bored Apes really early. And I think like a lot of times when people will look at NFTs, they'll just be like, oh man, like, you know, you were so lucky to be early. And it's just like, how did you find Bored Apes and what was it that like drew you to them initially?
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, it's all a fucking blur. Like anyone that was around that time, like April, May 2021, it's just like a massive, massive blur. But what I vaguely remember is like my first NFT ever was a Meebit. So I minted it. I knew what I knew what Larva Labs was because of CryptoPunks. And I was just like hanging out on Twitter one day, sort of like, you know, knowing that I should be paying attention to NFTs. And one of the only accounts I followed was like Larva Labs. And I saw that they were like, boom, our new mint is live, like Meebits. These are like these new fucking avatars or whatever, you know. And I was like, damn, okay, they made CryptoPunks. Like, this is like their thing. Obviously, this is, you know, might be like something cool. So I already knew like how to use MetaMask and shit like that. And I just had like, I think it was 2 ETH at the time to mint a Meebit, but ETH was like 3 or 4K or some shit. So it was like an expensive mint. Yeah. But I was like, just like terrified. I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to spend like $6,000 or $7,000 on this like voxel fucking like, and I was like, I don't even know what it did. I didn't know anything, but they had like the live counter on the fucking thing. So you could just see how many are getting minted. I was like, oh my God, these are like selling out. So I minted one. And I see the ETH like leave my wallet. It was like all my fucking money in my life, right? And I'm like, okay, like where is this thing? Like, where do I get it or whatever? And so I didn't know where to even like look at your NFTs or get. And then eventually I started talking to people on Twitter. One guy was like, oh, you got to go to OpenSea, like click your wallet, and then it's there. I was like, oh man, thank God. Okay. So then I'm coming to the ape part, but then on the Meebit, I noticed, I was like, wow, these are all like reselling right away. All the people that were too late to mint one. And then I saw like the skeletons or like the elephant Meebit or whatever, like some shit sold for like 100 ETH. And that's when my brain was like, oh my God, like we all had the same chance of like minting that one. You know, it's like, I was like, oh my God, this dude just spent like 5K and turned it into like 100K in a fucking hour. I was like, okay, this is like crazy. I got to learn more about it. So then I just started getting into it. I think there was like the bonsai trees. There was like Zed Run, all these other projects. Yeah. And then I started seeing all Top Shot. I started seeing all these people with the Bored Ape avatars. And at first I was like, man, I don't really like these. I don't think they're that cool. And then after like 5 days in a row, it's like, you know, you hear a song on the radio over and over and over, and then you're like singing along to it that you thought you hated. After like 5 days, I was like, oh, okay, shit, I see the tie-dye one. That's actually kind of good, though. I like that one, the tie-dye. And then I'd see like another trait and be like, oh, shit, that one's kind of cool. So then I just started looking through all the apes and stuff on OpenSea, started like buying one or two. My first one was like a super clean. It was just board with like a black merch hat. And it's just like, you could basically get whatever you wanted. Like, and it was just like crazy. They were all around like floor. Just no one had really figured out what traits, obviously, apart from like gold fur or whatever, but you could get like super clean shit at floor. Like the punk jackets were just laying around the floor. Everything is just at floor. So it was like super crazy times. And then, yeah, from there, I went to the first ever Bored Ape meetup. There's like a picture of it. It was like 30, 40 people in Venice Beach, Los Angeles. And yeah, that was like super cool meeting everyone in real life. And then shit just fucking exploded from there.
Yeah. So you bought a bunch of them and you ended up holding one like pretty high. Like, didn't you sell it for like 90 ETH or something like that?
Oh man, I played Bored Ape stuff so badly, bro. For how early I was, for how early I was, bro, I played it so badly. And I'm lucky because the whole market was just going up like crazy. Everyone was flipping everything all day. You know, I did okay regardless. But yeah, like I bought an ape. You know, I had like 3 or 4 apes. I think, you know, around like 2 ETH or something was like my last purchase there. Then they hit like 5 ETH and I sold like 1 or 2. Then I had one left, the one with the merch hat. And then when they dropped mutants, I like panic sold that. I was like, oh man, there's no way. There's 20,000 other fucking things. Like these are just gonna all plummet. Like, oh no, it's the top, it's the top, it's the top. I sold my ape, then I regretted it and fucking bought back in like 5 ETH above what I sold at, like at that point. Then I like bought and sold one more time, like, and I missed the fucking airdrop, the land drop. I missed everything. So, you know, bro, like literally that, and I'm just saying this because I know there's definitely other people out there watching this that played it just as badly as me, right? And overall, if I calculated out the whole thing, I still like made a good amount and stuff. And I minted a rare dog. Like I minted a rare dog when they came out. That was good. So like overall, I still did like really, really well. But dude, compared to how much I should have made from that, being that early, I really fumbled it. But hey, there's people that bought an ape and sold their only ape at like 2 ETH, right? Or sold like 100 of them at like 0.2 or some shit. So it's like, you know, I'm not like the only person that kind of fumbled it a little bit. So I just say these to tell people out there, like, fuck it. It's a really hard process to like time things, and, you know, people get burned. You could time it perfectly and then get hacked and lose everything. So yeah, it's just a crazy world. You just got to like do the best you can and just, you know, not take it too much to heart or like hate yourself if something goes wrong. We're all just doing our best, you know?
Yeah. There's infinite regret. Like
exactly.
The thing is like people always think about like their all-time high net worth and like, oh, what I could have had and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, if you make like enough good plays and if you come out on top enough, like you're going to be better off than you were yesterday. And it's just like, I mean, I'm assuming, but I'm going to ask, right? Like you are definitely better off now than you were back then. So it's like
100%.
So yeah, like maybe you missed out on like, you know, a bag, but at the same time, like your life has been a lot better since getting into this.
100%. Right? Yeah, no, 100%. Still, like, that's the kind of things where your brain plays tricks on you, where you're like, oh my God, you're like having like panic attacks about like, you know, the block folio being down like X amount. And you're like, bro, put yourself in your shoes 12 months ago or like 24 months ago and look at what you're like worried about. Like you'd be so happy to be in this position, right? So it's like, Just one of those things where it's like, but it is definitely like a real thing psychologically. But I think everyone has to go through shit. Like I went through the 2017 crypto bull run, and like I had like nothing. I had like $2,000 or some shit invested in crypto, but that 2K went up to like 25 or 30K in the space of like 2 months, and I didn't take a single profit at all. I was like looking on, everyone on Twitter, you see someone with a blue check and they're saying, oh, it's going to keep mooning. We're going to 10X from here and this and this and that. And I was like young. I was like, oh shit, it's going to be 50 grand in like a week if I don't sell. And it's of course not, right? It's just like a bubble. The whole thing popped and I was left. I had like 2K. It went up to like 25 or 30. And then it went back down. And I think I ended up with like 3K. So I made like 1K instead of like 25. And that was the best thing that could ever happen to me, because on this bull run, apart from the ape, I was just selling any NFTs I had. I was like, I know this shit's gonna fucking crash at some point. It's when you start seeing celebrities on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon fucking shilling your bags, and like when your fucking grandma like knows what your NFT is, you better fucking sell that shit. So it's like, but the apes, it just kept going and going. And I still think, dude, apes are going to do super well. Like, I know we talked about it before the show about why I sold my ape again and stuff. That's more of a me thing, of like me being just like stressed about it and not being able to really handle the fluctuation. And that's has nothing to do with my confidence in like Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga. And like, I really hope I'll be buying back in again at some fucking point. So, yeah.
I just think that the next couple months are so uncertain. I don't know if like that had something to do like with your decision.
No, not at all. It's just me, really, just like my own shit and just where I'm at. But what do you mean in terms of like the merge and stuff?
I mean the merge, everybody's saying that like there's going to be another leg down, inflation, like all that kind of shit, Like people have been talking a lot about saying that the next couple months, like if this is a bear market, like this is when it's going to eventually get like a little bit worse, but yeah.
Yeah, it could look. I think like, and by the way, like we'll throw the not financial advice fucking disclaimer in there. Obviously, if you take financial advice from me and Ash, like two dudes that look like this, you got to like figure out your priorities. So we're not financial advisors, but I feel like everyone's got to do what's best for them. Like the way I see it, I was like trying to fight back against my own psychology, but at the end of the day, if you're like stressed about something every single day, I was like, man, this can't be good for my mental health if it's stressing me this much. So let me do what's right for me. And I feel like you got to sometimes like lose the battle to win the war. Like you got to make some moves sometimes, take a step back for a second, and then you can move forward in a better way. So I think like everyone should do what they want. I hate when people are shaming others for holding, shaming others for selling, shaming others for literally anything. At the end of the day, it's a really brutal, like ruthless market. Just because there's some cute JPEGs in front of it, don't let it fool you. It's a fucking ruthless market. And you see all these operators, like I'm not even going to name any names, but big people, and they're just splashing shit around. They're buying 50 of these, 100 of those, then they fucking sell 30 of them. And like, meanwhile, you're just, me and you are here and all regular people with like our one mutant or one ape. You get caught in the crossfire. So you got to be careful. And yeah, just do what's best for yourself. And don't worry about impressing your friends on the internet, that you don't even know in real life. You got to look out for your own life first.
Yeah. And I tweeted about this the other day, and it's like, you really do, and this goes out to anybody, not financial advice, like all that kind of shit, but it's like you really do have to like come up with your own plan, like what you want to follow in terms of trading, to where you're like, okay, there's a guy in this Discord who's telling me that I'm a paper and that I'm going to miss out on like 10 ETH if I sell here. But if you're making a nice 2X or something that you're comfortable with, take it, move on. There'll be another opportunity down the road. So I think that that's one thing that I really don't like about like the NFT spaces in general, is that, people will sell shame. People will, try to whatever, like you see stuff on Twitter all the time. And like, it's very hard to see, like when you see like a lot of people that are making money, you're like, oh man, like, I want to jump on that train, like while I still can. But yeah, it just depends on like your situation. So, I mean, I guess, the next thing that I wanted to go into is ENS. So much like Bored Apes, you were also very early to the ENS train. And I'm interested because you say that you played the Bored Apes like really bad. And I already know what you're going to say, because I've seen like some of your tweets just about like some digits and stuff. But I guess like the first thing is, so obviously like a lot of people, when they first get into NFTs, they go and they will like register their ENS, and then that was kind of it. And I think that some people were like, oh, maybe you would search like, you know, some names and then they would be taken. You'd be like, oh, whatever, like all the good ones are taken. And that ended up not being the case, because obviously there have been a ton. I mean, ENS in retrospect was the most obvious play, and you were one of the first people to point that out. And what I'll say is I started following you. You were the reason why I found out about digits to begin with. And to me, at least, and I don't know if you feel this way, but you really did start the whole thing, like about ENS with like, you know, digits and pointing out, oh, people, you know, pay for phone numbers and license plates, like a ton of money. And you were like, oh man, like these digits are going to be big. And I realized that there's a lot of people that are in the space that all they wanted to do was go and chase like the cute profile picture. And you were thinking like outside of the box. You're like, maybe this ENS thing is better. So I know I just ranted a little bit, but with that all being said, like you were super early. How did you like get into the mindset? Like, how did you find out about this stuff? And where did the whole digits thing start for you?
Yeah, dude, no, that's super like kind of like, you know, kind of accurate, I guess, when everyone was chasing the PFPs and everything. I don't know. I sort of just started getting disillusioned with the rest of the stuff. Nothing interesting was coming out, really catching my eye. And, you know, it's the same thing. It's like it's just a blur, bro. You know how you're just like on Twitter and OpenSea and Discord and everywhere. It's like, I legit could not tell you like how I started getting into ENS. Like I have literally no clue, but all I know is before I knew it, I was just like in a couple group chats with other people that were sort of like buying these ENS domains, and it was like quiet. I'm talking like one sale a day on the OpenSea for like a random word for like 0.002. It was like, dude, it was, if there was a 1 ETH sale one day, we literally like be talking about it. Oh damn, who bought that? Yo, what's up? Da, da, da. You see that shit sold for 1 ETH? It was like so quiet, right? And I don't know, just something about it. I was like, this just makes sense to me. It's like, you know, are people gonna want to use the fucking long ass like string address, or is this better? I'm like, okay, this is clearly better. There's already people using it as like a flex if they have their first name or something like that. And, you know, it just seemed like a good opportunity. Obviously, I'm kind of older, so I just turned 30 recently, and like, you know, I missed the .com domains and stuff. But obviously, I feel like you're kind of, you know, you're not like under 20, so you also saw the .com domain shit. You're not like a Gen Z or something, right? So it's like, we know that like these domains could have value. And I just saw like people sort of sleeping on it, and something about it, just my instinct was like, okay, let's just like learn more about this. So I started learning. So when it came to the digits, I also like was totally fading them. So if you looked at all the ENSs I was getting until that point, it was just like words. It was like random like 2-word things, like, you know, whatever, cheap loans.eth or some shit, like whatever, like 2-word things. And basically all these things were free. And then it sort of started heating up a little bit. ENS started heating up a little bit. And then what happened was one like whale just started registering all these 3 digits. And let me just give some context. And I know we don't want to like ramble, but this is kind of a thing where like, it's just a lot of information. So I'll try to keep it really short. But with ENS, for anyone that doesn't know, the lowest amount of characters you can mint is 3. So like, let's say your favorite number is 27. You can't mint 27. You have to do 0 to 7. So it has to hit 3 characters. So with that being said, the biggest flex is like the shortest amount you can do is 3. So all of the 3-digit numbers is kind of like the lowest numbers you can get. So that's 1,000 numbers technically, from 000 to 999. So these were all just sitting there. And bro, I'm talking like 5 months ago, like literally 4 or 5 months ago, these were all sitting there. I think there was only like 200 of them were taken. But the thing is, for these short ones, ENS charges like a higher renewal fee. It's like $650 a year, right? So that's what was keeping everyone away. We all knew they were there, but everyone's like, well, why would I register one when there's like 800 left and then waste like $700, right? But basically one fucking whale just comes in one day, starts registering like 50, 100, 200, whatever. I think they registered 100 actually or something like that. But while they were registering, everyone just started being like, oh shit, like these are just going crazy now. Like I should grab a 3-digit. I think I might be a little wrong with that. I don't think there was 800 left. I think there was like 400 left or something, right? So it just starts going crazy. I still was like, why would I want a number? Then that's where I learned about the license plate shit, the phone number thing. And then as I started to think about it, I was like, yeah, dude, that does make sense. You ever just scroll on Instagram and you see some random fucking person with like a 3-letter thing or like a 3-number thing? Like, it makes you stop your scrolling. You're like, whoa, like, I don't know, like LJF or some shit. You see some random like 3-digit username on Instagram or on Twitter, you stop and you like check, yo, who the fuck is this, right? So I was like, okay, if we're just scrolling Twitter all fucking day and then you just see all these long ass things, if someone has like a 111 or like 827 or some shit, you'll probably stop scrolling. And we live in the attention economy, so if you can get someone to even care for like 1 split second who the fuck you are, right? You have a Bored Ape. Someone, yo, who's this Ash guy? Shit, he has a Bored Ape. And then that might be the difference of you getting like a fucking brand deal or something versus not, right? So then I started realizing, okay, we basically have 2 pieces of real estate on our profile when people are scrolling on the timeline. They can see your profile picture or they can see your name. That's the only 2 fields of information people have to judge you off when they're just scrolling.
Right.
So I was like, man, this is like not competing with profile pictures. Someone could have a Bored Ape and they could have a fucking 3-digit ENS or even 4-digit, whatever. So that's why I was like, okay, unfortunately, I didn't even have like the right amount of time. They were minting out so fast. I just minted 2 or 1. And then I bought 1 like right after they sold out for like 1 ETH or some shit, right? But I minted 1. I should have just minted like 20. I wasn't really thinking they could be that big. They started popping off. People start calling it 999 Club, whatever. Then the next day, people start minting out the fucking 10,000 from 00009999, like 4-digit numbers. And I was just like, this is stupid. What are you guys doing? Like, why would you guys do that? Who's going to want? And then same thing, some smarter people than me. This is why you need to be around smart people, bro. It's because some smart motherfucking like nerd, Ethereum nerd guys were like, well, technically, this would be another 10K project and Ape and Punk holders could actually want to get their matching cereal. And, this could actually be like the purest 10K collection because there's not even any art and all this shit. And I was like, man, they have a point. So I started minting some 10Ks. And so that's a long story, but that's where the digits started from. And then since then, and it kind of like goes against my bags. Like I said, I have way more words than fucking digits, but literally since then it's been like just digit season, bro. Like literally just fucking going crazy every single day. Digits. People that had bought like a bunch of like word and letter domains are like, bro, what the hell's up with this? When's someone gonna buy like words and shit? And I'm like, man, it's kind of crazy that it's so heavily skewed towards just numbers when there's like all this stuff. But I don't know. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. It's just like crazy momentum right now.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a great explanation. And I saw the same thing happen, right? Like, I remember exactly when 3 digits were still available. I saw you tweet about it and I was just like, no, I'm not going to spend 0.5 on this. Like, yeah. And then of course, like, that was for the year. You could have done it for a month. We can just pass, like, you could have done that.
Well, actually, back then, no one had found that sort of loophole yet. So actually, it was better because we all had to just put our money where your mouth is. Everyone minting had to mint for a year. So it was actually better. After that, yeah, I get what you mean. I don't want to confuse people.
Yeah. So, and then I remember when the 10Ks were being minted out, and I was literally looking at it, and I was like, let me grab the number for my ape. And I didn't do it that night. I was just like, forget it. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. I wake up to a tweet, and it's just like 10K is sold out. And I'm just like, bro, what? So
yeah, dude, that was one of the most shocking days in like crypto to me and NFTs, and it taught me a good lesson because I was the same. I had favorited a bunch of numbers. Even when my girl was like, "Yo, can you get me this number?" It's like I was like, "What number do you want?" Because I wanted to get her a 4-digit, and she told me like a favorite number type thing, and I favorited it on ENS, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll just get it tomorrow. It's fucking whatever." And dude, the same thing. I woke up the next day, they're all gone, and I'm like, "Wow." When you see a thing, if you truly think it's good, like. The market moves so slow, and you might see like 0 sales per day, or like Bored Apes, maybe there's like 2 sales per day today or something, right? But if something happens and like the market just gets conviction on something, the speed of which like 10,000 things can like be bought is literally like fucking 10 minutes, like 5 minutes. So it's just taught me to like, man, if you really believe in something, just get it, because when it hits that moment, it could actually just sell out in like 5 minutes. It's like, people just have money and they're just waiting and seeing. And then when everyone wants it, everyone just apes in, and it's just so fast.
Yeah. And there's still people on Twitter. You might be watching this and you might be wondering the same thing. Like, why do digits matter? And what I do a lot of times is like, I'll go back and I'll find like an article or a video of someone in Dubai, because that's like where one of the biggest places where it is, where people will be spending, because you can get digits on a license plate, like 1 or like 25 or 100. And these people are paying millions and millions of dollars for it to put it on a car that might not be worth that at all. And that's a very common thing in other cultures in different parts of the world. And I think it's like a little bit different because, like, you know, in the United States, what happens, like, you go to the DMV and then they just like give you a license plate and you're like, okay. And yeah, you can get a custom one, but it's different because there are finite amounts in like those different countries.
Right. So in the States, like every single state issues its own license plate. So, you know, you can basically, there won't be much competition for what you want. Now imagine America just had one license plate. It just said USA and everyone in the fucking whole country. And then you're driving down the street in the middle of some random part of America and you saw a car and it said like 86 on the plate. And you're like, man, out of the whole country of America, he has one of the only like 2-digit, there's only 100 of these. Like, so it's kind of hard to explain in that way to maybe someone here. But yeah, and I've kind of lived all over the world and stuff. I had a weird kind of upbringing. I lived in like a bunch of different places, and maybe that's kind of helped me to see like, oh shit. But you know, rich people will pay for the dumbest thing. And what I realized is like almost what I liked about the digits is that they're so simple, and they're almost like going to be so triggering to people, like if they do well, because it's just like if you look on OpenSea, it's just a blue fucking background with like numbers on it, right? But in a weird way, you know, the way everyone was always saying all of last year, the next Bored Ape Yacht Club is not going to like look like Bored Ape Yacht Club. The next BAYC, it won't look the same, or it'll be something unexpected. I was like, damn, when the digits hit, I was like, this is the fucking thing that people were saying. Because they're right. It's not going to be, you know, fucking whatever, like Kong's Country Club. Like you're not going to copy Bored Apes and like become a big thing. So I knew that it was something out there probably super different that would come up. And even while I was staring it in the face, I still faded it. But luckily, I just like, you know, my friend was talking about this the other day. He said, look, ENS is so early. You don't have to like thread a needle through a perfect thing. You just need to like land your boat like on the right continent. Like basically just get fucking anywhere. You know, he's like, just get anything. So it's like, even just getting 1 3-digit would be like, damn, you still did good, you know, or just get like a couple 4 digits. Even if you just had like 5 4 digits or 3 4 digits or something, you're still going to do well. It's just like so early. So I think, yeah, even if you faded it, but you just like got a couple things. So I could sit here and be like, man, I could have minted like 500 10K clubs, right? Easily if I wanted to. And, you know, I'll be retired already. But it's like, man, I only minted like 5 or 6. And even those, like you said earlier, I sold them like too early again. So, you know, it's okay. I still have like some good digits and shit. But yeah, like I sold 6777 for like 5 ETH. I sold 8883. Bro, anything now with 888s, dude. So the favorite numbers of these, dude, it's crazy. The favorite numbers of all the Chinese buyers is 8 and 3. And anything with 888, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see that sale in like 2 years. And literally it might resell for like $250,000 or like $500,000 or something. I'm not even kidding. So yeah, don't do that, kids. Like hold on to your good digits.
Yeah. And so one thing that I will say, because I definitely want to talk about the Vitalik thing, is just, I see a lot of times on Twitter where people will be like, that's stupid. And it's just like, if you are in NFTs, learn about profile pictures, learn about ENS, learn about metaverse land, learn about all the stuff, and then make your own like calculated decision as to like what you truly think the future is going to be. I don't think that it's good to have like a closed mindset on any of this stuff. And I see that so often where people will fade digits or like ENS or like any of this stuff. And it's like, that's great. But and not financial advice, of course, but it's just like, I think if you're here and if you're watching this and you're this early, it does make sense to just learn about everything, like, and to try to understand it and not just like close the door on something and just be like, oh bro, all I care is like Doodle's IP. This is going to be the next TV show.
Yeah. People get so in these little tunnels. And to me, I see it like when I got into Bored Apes, the floor was 1 ETH, 2 ETH, 3 ETH. All the crypto punks at that time, the energy of like punks, if you saw a punk on Twitter, it was very like snarky. It was very like Williamsburg, Brooklyn, like they're drinking an oat latte, like laughing down at the peasants, right? That was like the punk energy. And they thought apes were like very sort of just like gaudy and like uncultured and stuff, which we were making dog noises in the Discord, like barking and shit. So I, but they thought apes was just like the stupidest thing. Very few punk holders bought an ape when they could have literally got one for like 2 ETH and the punk's floor was like 18, 20, 30 ETH, something like that. And a lot of these people had 5, 6, 20, 30 punks, right? And like literally I could remember in my brain like a fucking handful, like 5 dudes that had punks or 5 girls, whatever, 5 punk holders that I can remember who were like, you know what? I'll get an ape. And I remember because it would be a big thing. People were like, yo, a punk holder just got a fucking ape. Like, I'm talking when the floor was like 1 ETH or something. And think about it now, literally would have been the cheapest insurance. And so the way I see ENS is almost like, yo, are you a whale in fucking NFTs? Do you have like literally punks and apes and you still didn't buy at least like a 4 digit, which is like a 10K collection, like punks and apes, right? So I would say that's the most closely compatible, is the same, collection size and matching numbers. It's like, man, if I had like 5 apes right now, like I would probably be like, fuck, man, maybe like just cheap insurance, like, or maybe not sell an ape, but let's say I have like 5 apes and 6 mutants. It's like, bro, you don't even think about selling a mutant, and just in case. So I don't want necessarily digits to be like, I'm not trying to say I hope they flip apes and punks, because like I just hate that energy of like, oh, I hope this flips it. And like, dude, I love Bored Apes. I'm not trying to see anyone get like flipped by anything, but it's like, my gut feeling is like, man, a lot of people might just be like, why didn't I just get like 2 or 3 of these? Imagine even if you just bought 2 or 3 apes as a punk holder, your whole life would be different. If you got the airdrops, you got all that shit. So I think that, yeah, ENS is going to trigger people. People are going to say that it's just digits, it's just whatever. But I think it's a feature, not a bug. I think that there's not going to be any sort of politics with it. You can't cancel a number. You can't say a number is sexist or racist or blah, 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 or voted for Trump, or whatever the people want to say about anything, right? It's just literally numbers. And so I think there's something pure about it that I'm starting to like appreciate more the longer that I hold them. Because at the start, like I said, if I knew what I knew now, I'm studying like Chinese numerology and all the shit. Like in China, 502 means I love you and shit. That number is probably like going to be like mega valuable. I'm learning all this random shit about Chinese number culture. And Chinese has the biggest .com domain whales. That's why they're all buying these ENSs. And so, yeah, I would never sell 8883 for 3 ETH, like if I knew what I knew now. So, I think that people are going to sort of slowly keep finding out about digits and, getting into it. So that's pretty much a big rant, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. And I know that we want to keep this like a little bit short. One thing that I did want to bring up before we get going is you mentioned triggering people, and initially Vitalik was all cool with ENS, right? But now all of a sudden, like, he's been like on Twitter and he's been saying like just a couple different things. And I think most recently, and this is what you ratioed him. Let me actually bring this up. So Vitalik said the status quo will make it unaffordable for smaller players to get in anything interesting in 2050 because it'll all be taken. And then you said all the good California real estate was taken in the 1970s. That's so unfair. I deserve to own prime California real estate no matter how late I am. So essentially what Vitalik is trying to do is, and you can explain this a little bit better and we can keep it like a little bit short if you want, but he's essentially trying to make it to where if you registered something like a business name or anything, like it could be somebody's first name, and then if there's a bid on it, he essentially suggested that there should be some sort of like tax on it that you have to continue to pay on top of like a renewal fee. Because as we know right now, to renew 3 digits, it's like the most expensive. 4 digits, it's a little bit less. As it gets longer, it becomes cheaper. But Vitalik is like, for some reason, like trying to make it. And he's like, oh man, like, I don't know if it's like lack of control, but it's like, he wants there to be like this huge payment that you have to pay if you're holding on to like a really valuable domain. And so I guess quickly, like what's kind of your thought on this whole situation?
Yeah, so, you know, I think that what Vitalik's saying, I get where he's coming from when it's something like brand names or like, business names and things like that. But it's really hard to like if you enforce a rule on Ethereum or on ENS, it's like it's just gonna, be for everything. So it's like it might be a good idea or an okay idea for a certain like sliver of the ENS domains, but if everyone else is gonna get punished for that. So I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to disincentivize squatters, right? Or people that come in and buy like, 500 first names. Like there's people who have wallets that they own like Daniel.eth, John.eth, Mary.eth, whatever, Sebastian.eth. They own like hundreds of first names. So he doesn't like that. What I say is, bro, whoever owns Daniel.eth, like fucking respect, bro. You were like 3 years early, you had to like risk your money, you had to risk your time, you had to keep renewing them. And so to me, the fact that you got to renew them every year is already enough of a thing. Like a lot of people don't have enough money to renew all their domains, so you can't really squat on them because a lot of people leave really good domains expire every fucking year because they were just like, man, I'm not going to keep holding this, fucking expensive, right? And so I think that the system's fine as it is. Nobody's complaining. That's the weird thing about the Vitalik thing. Is like nobody is complaining at all. And then he's kind of like jumping in, being like, I think there should be a tax. And so real quick for people to explain it, what the tax says is like, for example, if I had Daniel.eth and then some richer Daniel than me, which would not be very hard, bid like, if some richer Daniel came in and like fucking bid like 100K, I'd have to decide if I want to pay. If I either have to accept his 100K offer, or because I didn't accept it, I'm going to get hit with a 3% tax. So I would have to pay $3,000 that I wasn't planning on paying if I don't want to accept that offer. And so you can see how that would start getting stupid real quick. I mean, what if you're running a business that's your .eth name and a competitor has big bags? Just like when you're at the poker table, whoever has the most chips can just fucking bully everybody, right? So it's like, someone could really, play this out in a bad way, or if someone just didn't like you, they could just bid a bunch of money on your ENS, and if you don't want to sell it, you're gonna have to like keep paying money to fucking renew it. So I mean, everyone came out against it. Like you saw that thing about the California real estate. He said, oh, if it's like this, no one's gonna get any clean names in 2050, and everyone was like, bro, oh, it's so unfair that I can't have Matthew at Gmail. It's so unfair that people in 2004 got it, and now I have to get Matthew 1996. It's like, obviously whoever is fucking early and is an early adopter is going to benefit from that. It's like, that's why I said the California thing. It's like, man, it's like saying I should walk down the fucking street to the old lady that got her house for like $20,000 in the 70s, and I should be able to like kick her out of her house because I want it. And I'm, it's like, no. Sometimes, if you're early, you got to get the benefit. So yeah, it was chaos. Everyone was kind of against it. But it's just strange. I don't know why Vitalik, dude, the merge is in 10 days. Why are you so like, why is he just and he's talking about ENS renewals all the time, bro. It's like 5 or 6 times he's brought it up in the last week. He's like mega, I don't want to say mega triggered. Okay. That's like a little, but like, it's definitely like living rent free in his head, ironically, because what he's proposing, but it's rent free. And why are you thinking about this, bro? You have to fucking the merge. If I had the fucking merge in 10 days, it's almost like you're about to like, do your finals and you're at school and you're like, spending all this time thinking about like some dumb shit or something. It's like, why are you talking about this? But yeah,
bro,
yeah.
It's so funny. No, and I hear you. And I wanted to bring that up, just because we were talking about ENS and everything. And that was something that happened recently. But look, this won't be the last one. I appreciate everybody for watching as usual. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm going to make sure to put Daniel's Twitter down below. So go follow him. He always has like a lot of good takes. And it's a lot of like what NFTs are is keeping up with people that you can just get a lot of like different opinions. And I think that that's like something that's very valuable. So dude, thank you for coming on. We're definitely going to set up another one of these again soon, so we can just go into like a lot of this stuff like more in depth. But I appreciate it, man.
No, thanks, bro. And I'll say one last thing I forgot to say as well. For anyone that wants to learn more about ENS, OpenSea is like really not good. You probably know by now, bro. So OpenSea is not good for ENS. Go to this thing called ENS ens.vision, ENS Vision. It's like a really good site where you have like all the categories of the digits, the words, the names, everything. And so yeah, I just wanted to drop that in there because if people go to OpenSea, it's going to be so hard to learn about ENS. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for having me on, bro. It was fun talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll put the link for ENS Vision down below. That should be like the only place where you go to look at this stuff because it's where it is like very easy. But yeah, thank you guys for watching for sure. Take it easy, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Boom.